The indie author revolution has been around for more than a decade, but we indies continue to push the boundaries of what we're capable of. From getting over initial prejudices to staring down perfectionism and author imposter syndrome, we've become a force to reckon with. Now, after years of hustle and grind, we indies are rebelling again. Gone are the days of publishing a book a month until we drop, and in its place we're sowing the seeds of a better way. A way with more ease, abundance, and flow. Get ready to learn about indie authorship from a whole new perspective. We're about to cover everything from releasing your poverty mentality to manifesting your millionaire author destiny. I'm Carissa Andrews, and this is the Author Revolution Podcast.
Well, hi everybody. Welcome back to the Author Revolution Podcast. Holy cow. Okay, so I'm doing this literally the day after we got back from InkersCon and the day it's going to go out, which is super weird to me because normally I'm doing our podcast episodes on different days and I'm getting them scheduled and doing all the things. Not today because we were driving all the way from Dallas back to Minnesota and obviously the way there too, but you know what I'm saying? Like we literally just got back last night. So here I am. Everything's super fresh when it comes to InkersCon and everything that just went down. So I'm going to give you my recap of what this experience was like. And I'll also kind of compare and contrast it to like 20 Books and the Idaho Writers Guild conference just a little bit, just so that you have a good, clear vibe on how this particular conference went. So obviously, as I stated, we got in a car and we started driving first thing Wednesday morning. Like it was really, really early. And we made it as far as Emporia, Kansas, I think is the town that we stayed in. And let me just say, Emporia, boy, you need to upscale your hotels and everything. My friend Jenny and PA Jenny, she told us that would be a good place to stop because before the toll roads and then you can get all the things, right? So we did that and the hotel was a little sketchy. It's fine. It was cool. It was a place to sleep. And then we were out the door and on the road to Dallas. So we did make it to Dallas on Thursday, which was super cool because when we arrived, we had a little bit of downtime to just kind of decompress from the long drive before, get this, Tammy freaking Tyree ended up at the conference as well. She didn't tell me she was going until the very last minute. I had no idea I was going to get to meet Tammy in person until she had to sign up for the app. They have this like super cool, I think it's called Whova or Whova. I think it's Whova app for the conference. And she ended up having to sign up so that she could start enrolling into the different classes and whatever. And so, of course, I found out from that and she tagged me. She's the one that still surprised me through the app. It was fine, but it was like, what? So I got to meet Tammy in person and her niece, Jenna, which was super cool because Jenna is an amazing rom-com romance author. And so in her own right, she's got so many cool books, right? And so we had dinner and we got to hang out at like the like, I don't even know, the patio area, I guess is what they called it. Super weird because it's Texas and it was really hot, but they had this middle area where there was like a bonfire thing going and you could sit, on different sides of the bonfire. Let me just say, we did not sit next to the fire. It was way too hot for that. But they had like these little outdoor table areas where we could sit and just hang out and talk. Well, we were just planning on hanging out and talking, but apparently the bar also comes to you when you're sitting out there, which is funny. So we ended up having a couple of drinks. We don't normally, like neither Tammy nor I, as far as I'm aware, like Tammy said she doesn't normally drink either. We ended up drinking a couple of Long Island iced teas. And let me tell you, they are not like the Long Island iced teas in Minnesota. This guy was very heavy-handed. Whew. So we were up until 1 a.m. talking about all things, like everything, right? And had to get up at like 7 a.m. And that was very early. And it was like, what's happening? Who am I? What's going on? So let me just say, as a non-drinker, 2 Long Island iced teas, oh yeah, I felt that in the morning. But luckily, everything went great. So then we had Friday, which was the first day of the conference, and it was roundtables, which was really interesting. I liked the roundtables, but it was really loud because every single one of the roundtables, and not all of them were round, sometimes they were like in a corner where the speaker was like at a podium and facing like the corner of the room. It was still too loud. Like there were a lot of echoing things going off around the room. And so if you weren't in the front or if you were at one of those podium type roundtables, you couldn't hear people and the questions that were being asked if they were in front of you. Like we sat kind of more toward the back and it was kind of hard to hear. But overall, like my favorites were Bonnie Paulson. She's amazing. I loved her style and her attitude and everything that she does, which by the way, Bonnie is coming onto the podcast. I'm so excited to be able to talk to her one-on-one. So I get to interview her later this month and it's going to be fabulous. I also loved Jamie Albright and her roundtable. She had, I don't know, she's so cute and quirky and I love her so much. She's fantastic. Of course, I ended up doing a roundtable as well. And we talked about manifestation and about like how authors can tap into the abundance vibe. And it was such a fun group of people where they were interested in like the talk of manifestation and how it works. I mean, even Quinn Ward was there, which was super cool. So we talked for like a half an hour just on manifestation, kind of got them primed and pumped for the talk that Renee and I were doing on Sunday. So that was really cool. My only complaint, like I said, with the roundtables was that it was so loud in there. And if you have like ADHD or if it's just hard for you to hear, the roundtables themselves were a little bit difficult to follow or to stick with if you had like the corner ones. Like my roundtable was actually a round table. And so that helped a lot to keep like all of the conversation in that little bubble. But when they had like the really big ones where they were talking, like Bonnie's was really big, where it was in the corner and you're facing that corner, it was definitely harder to hear. Now, day one, I'm going to tell you about the classes that I took rather than all of them because there were 2 classes going at any given time. Not quite as big as 20 books, obviously, because why would you need it as big as that, right? So day one, I had Kat Mora's Building a Sustainable 7-Figure Business class that I went to. That was the first class. So great. She's such a sweetheart, and you can just tell that she's knowledgeable about what her business has done and just gave some really great tips on how to set yourself up for success right away. Great talk. So FYI, I'm telling you these things for the purpose of the digital conference. Like if you haven't gone to it, if you weren't there with us, these are the ones that I took and the takeaways. And so if you're going to do the digital version of it, which comes out July 22nd, I definitely want you to be thinking about these ones because they were fantastic, right? Okay. The second one was Jeff Wheeler's The How of Creativity. Now, his talk actually blew me away. He had some really, really great ideas on how to spark your creativity, how to get things moving again, like if you feel blocked or if you feel like things aren't quite working for you. So good. So definitely check out that one. Now, one of the things with InkersCon that was different from any of the other conferences I've gone to is that they had lunches and like cocktail hours that were part of your ticket. So we had lunch, right after Jeff Wheeler, which was great. We talked about all sorts of things while we were eating I think it was tacos that day. I'm pretty sure it was tacos. There was tacos almost every day. I swear. They love their tacos down there in Texas. So we were, chatting about all the things that we've learned so far. And that was kind of the gist of that. Now, right after lunch was Brian Cohen, and he did his behind the scenes look at a $90K month in royalties for 3 different authors. That was really interesting. I enjoyed that talk a lot because he went into detail about all the different things that were going on, right? Brian's talks are always super fun anyway, because he's got a fun sense of humor and he's very self-deprecating and just silly, right? The next one was Holly Darling. Now, I am new to Holly, but she was really good. Her talk was engaging. The way that she presented was fabulous. And she was talking about creating a thriving email list with automations. Now, for me, I moved over from like typical MailerLite to MailerLite, the new platform or whatever, the new version of MailerLite this past year. And when I did that, it lost all of my automations, or it didn't pull them in properly. And I haven't had the time to fix it. And so listening to Holly definitely gave me more inspiration to get back to that and to, get everything up and running so that when readers are coming in, they have a great experience, because it's been in the back of my mind. I've even had it on my planner where it's like, I need to get back to this, and I just haven't done it. And so that's going to be one of my big takeaways from this conference that I'm going to start doing, right? Is getting the email automations back up and running. I've got lots of ways readers come into my email list, and I'm kind of sucking at that engagement part. Then at the end of the day, the last kind of session was a panel with Jonathan Braze, Ines Johnson, Deanne Powell, and Alessandra Torre. Now they were sharing their secrets of success, and it was super cool because they each kind of did like a little mini presentation about how their success kind of came about and how it worked for them. But then they had a small panel too where there were questions that could be asked, and each of them would answer some questions. So that was neat. Now we wrapped up the day with InkersCon with the Margaritas and Manuscripts, like socializer event. And what was neat was like, it was an open bar, guys. It was like, I can't even believe how that worked. It was like, what? So you could go up and get some margaritas and sit down and talk about books. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, day one on Friday, they had this really cool thing, like it was a book swap thing where you bring in your books, you sign them obviously, and they had like this wrapping paper stuff. It was kind of like, the paper bags, kind of that sort of material. You wrap your books up and put like a little tagline or something about your book to try to entice people to get it. It's kind of like a blind date book swap, right? So everyone could pick books for what they put down and take them home. And that was really cool. So I ended up getting one of Gia Stevens' books, which was really cool because we ended up like initially meeting up on the app where we were talking and just kind of surprised that we're both Minnesota writers. We're both writing rom-com. And so I read one of her books through the BookFunnel app. And then we ended up like meeting up a couple of times throughout the event itself. And I got one of her paperback books because of what she had written on the thing. It was fun. Anyway, that was really cool. But overall, like the Margaritas and Manuscripts was neat because everyone kind of just hung around, chatted about books, chatted about the day's events. And we kind of moved from there, like Tammy Tyree, Jenna, Dot Caffrey, our friend Dot, Colin and I, we moved from like the Manuscripts place, like Margaritas and Manuscripts, into the lounge area of the hotel's place. So we did that, and we were waiting for our dinner, which I had like set up through the app for Manifestors Unite, so we could all have dinner together. And we ended up going onto the boardwalk, which is part of the hotel, right? There's like this little boardwalky thing, and it's full of different restaurants and different things where you can go, bars, I guess, little brewery and whatever. And so we sat in the lounge area first, met up, and then as a crew, I think there were 12 or 13 of us that went over to Fork and Fire, which was one of the restaurants on the boardwalk. And we had a wonderful conversation through dinner about manifestation and about how everything gets to work and how abundance mindset works for authors and all the things, right? It was so fun. So it was like each day I had something little going on with manifestation and authors. Now, day two, since I was not really drinking the night before, I had like one drink. Thank goodness, right? We ended up getting up really early and meeting up with Brian Cohen because he had like a book marketing breakfast. Him and Quinn had a book marketing breakfast. So we were actually up just a little bit early and got there before anybody else. So it was really cool. I got a signed copy of Amazon Ads, Brian's Amazon Ads book, and got to chat with Quinn. I got to sit next to Quinn. And so we talked an awful lot throughout breakfast about ads and about different things. And it was just such a fun experience. I mean, both Brian and Quinn are just great people. I love them so much. And I can't speak more highly of both of them. They're just wonderful people. Now, the first session I had on Sunday was Bonnie Paulson, Mastering the Art of Ad Strategy. Now, like I said, with the roundtables, I knew 100% I needed to go to that class because Bonnie was a fantastic speaker. She's got flair, she's got pizzazz, she's just a little bit silly. Like she was just really fun to listen to, right? So if you haven't listened to Bonnie talk, definitely seek her out because she's amazing. Then session 2 was with Katie Cross. Katie is really cool too. She's another one of those great personalities where you're just like, yep, I like her a lot. Now, she was talking selling direct to your readers, and she's a big proponent of selling direct, right? Of having your own store, being wide, selling directly to your readers. And in listening to her talk, it really concretized in my mind that that's the direction I want to go. Like with my own stuff, so Carissa Andrews stuff, and also with my rom-com side. I want that kind of experience to be out there, to be wide, to be selling directly to my readers. Now, the one thing that was a little different with what her talk was about, like with Carissa Andrews, I've been setting up a WooCommerce store for quite a while. And so the only thing I need to finish up is the selling direct when it comes to the paperback side of books, where they're not getting a signed copy, they're getting just a normal copy. And so I need to get BookVault connected with all of my books, and I haven't had the time to do that just yet. But when that's done, I'm going to be funneling all of my Facebook ad traffic to my own website. Now, with Carissa Knight, which, by the way, surprise if you don't know, that's my pen name for the rom-com side, I am going to be going with Shopify because that's what Katie was really touting. She was talking about Shopify and wanting to, or that platform was really good. And so me being me and all, I need to like test both to see which one I like better. So of course I've got WooCommerce already up and running. So with the new pen name, I'm going to go with Shopify and just see what happens. So that's kind of my plan. Those are the big two that I'm going to be doing. So it's obviously getting my email automations up and running and then selling direct. So after Katie, it was Renee Rose and myself doing the Activate and Align Your Author Career. And that was super cool. Like from a speaker perspective, what was really interesting was like we got there and we were there like a couple of minutes early, obviously. They ran us through all the logistics, let us know what what was expected of us and how this was going to go. We got more information on like how the mics were going to work, how the slides were going to work. All of it was super smooth, right? It was so great. And so for me, like when Renee's talk was going on, I was sitting on the stage kind of off to the side. So when they're recording, no one could see me, but obviously everyone else could see me. And then when she was done, I swapped out and she sat down. And the reason for it, logistically wise, was so that when we got to the question part, we were both right there and ready to go. But it was a little awkward sitting on stage and just kind of waiting until your turn. I don't know if Renee felt that way, but I definitely did. Then I gave my presentation. It went really well. I didn't feel like my soul was going to leave my body. It was a good conversation. And thankfully, at this point in time, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to manifestation. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to like how authors can apply it. And this was kind of the basics of manifestation. So it was like going all the way back to the beginning. This is what to expect. This is how it works for you. So super easy. It was so much fun. And we had some really great questions being asked all around. I couldn't have asked for a better partner. Renee was fantastic. And the whole thing just went off without a hitch. It was great. So after that, obviously it was lunch and we got to eat and do all the things again. And that was great because getting lunch in and being able to chill out and just relax after our talk was exactly what I needed. Because I don't know if I could have gone from giving the speech and then going straight into someone else's. I probably would have had to take a break. And because it was just like, whoo, okay, here's the things, woo. But we ended up having lunch then. I think it was more tacos. And then after lunch, it was Mal Cooper. We did Mal Cooper's Help My Facebook Ads Are Failing class. Now for me, there were two classes that were going on and I was really struggling because I love Mal and her classes are fantastic. And the other one was pretty good too. And I can't remember what it was. I just knew that I didn't need it as much. Like Facebook ads, I'm always wanting to, even though my ads aren't failing, I like to be reminded of how it works. Like it's that repetition thing, right? So I always try to go to Mal's stuff anyway, even if like whatever, you know what I mean? Because Mal's just amazing. After Mal, it was Golden Angel, and she was presenting effectively marketing your backlist, which obviously, who doesn't need that if you've got a backlist, right? And she was super fun to listen to. Like she had just a great vibe. She had pink hair on the top and like blue hair on the bottom and just a really sweet and wonderful person to listen to. She had a great stage presence. I loved it. The final class for the entire conference was Ines Johnson, for me anyway. And she did Stealing Secrets from Screenwriting, which was really cool because she had little clips from movies or shows. And obviously Ines had me from the get-go when she's like her very first slide was talking about like Gilmore Girls and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm like, oh, she and I are best friends already, right? So overall, it was just so great. Like Ines got done. We did closing cocktails out on the patio area that we were at first night, right? It was just such a wonderful event. So like it didn't matter where you were during the conference, like after hours or whatever, there were writers hanging out everywhere. Like you saw these people all day for the past 3 days. And so you're seeing the writers at the bar, you're seeing them in the like lounge areas. It was great. Now, we didn't have dinner, obviously, with the crew. It was closing cocktails, and then you had dinner on your own. So we ended up going out to dinner with Tammy Tyree and Jenna and Dot, and just had a good time at a different like location. We left the hotel for once and went out to this other place. It was great. Then came back and just hung out, right? Until it was time to go to bed because Tammy and Jenna were leaving at really early o'clock. I think their pickup was at 5 a.m. It was really early. For us, we didn't have to leave as early because we were driving. So we had breakfast with Dot, and then we were on the road again by like 9 a.m, right? And it was like, I don't even know. It was a shorter drive than going from Idaho, but it was still a long drive. Like 17 hours to get home was a long drive. So overall, the recap for this event, like I loved the social hours at this particular event and the meals because they were so awesome. Like the people that you hung out with and the conversations that you had and the way that people would come and go, like it was great. It was so great. I absolutely loved the Whova app. It was way better than Eventee, which is the one that 20 Books to 50K used. I don't know if they're going to continue using it because I know Craig wasn't super pleased about that particular app. So we'll see, what they do in coming years, but Whova was great. Overall, I just loved the experience of this particular event. The conference was great. The people were great. The hotel, it had a few little weird things, but other than that, it was fine. Like just super superficial things, like when the maid person would come in, like the maid service would come in, like the cleaning stuff that they used, not the super best smell. Like I did not like it at all. But other than that, like the hotel was beautiful. The location we were in was beautiful. It was just a really great conference to be at. Now, if you haven't experienced a conference before, this was definitely a fun one to go to because so much of it was inclusive. Our swag bag had like a InkersCon shirt in it and a bunch of other things. It was just really cool, right? But the way that they took care of you in terms of the food and the cocktails and setting everything up was also really cool and unexpected. Like until I signed Colin up to come with, I didn't even know that meals were included. I didn't know that was a thing. And I didn't know cocktails were included until I got there. So FYI, guys, there's drinks. But it was great. It was so far of all the conferences I've gone to in the past year, I would say InkersCon is probably my favorite. It was very much an author vibe, very much a fun, like just hang out with your people, your tribe vibe. So check it out. And now obviously this particular conference is over, like in person until next year, but the digital conference is coming July 22nd. So stay tuned because I'll be giving you the details to get signed up for that if you'd like. They're going to be giving us direct links, like almost like affiliate links, or maybe they are affiliate links. I don't know. They told us they're sending us links so that we can help people find the digital conference. So hang on and I will get you those links once I have it. And the conferences, I've done the digital conference before and even that is awesome. So, but in person, it was definitely a whole new level, right? It was super, super cool. So by the way, if there are any conferences or other podcasts that you think I should go on, I would love it if you'd let me know. Like this what I found out from this event was that apparently I have good stage presence, which is great. Yay, good to hear. So I feel like I should probably be getting myself out there more in the conferences and in other podcasts. So if there are other places that you would like to hear me on or hear me teach at, email me. So Carissa@authorrevolution.org. Just email me and let me know like where I should be found. Where should I go and pitch myself in Author Revolution too? Because I would love to get out there a little bit more and be on other people's podcasts. Like I've done this. This is 187 episodes here, guys. And I haven't really gone on other people's podcasts all that much. And so I really need to start doing that. Or in other conferences. Like obviously I've taught at a few now at this point, but I need to do more. So let me know where you'd like to see me and I will start pitching myself out. Okay? Well, now that all of this is done, now that the conference is over and I can chill out and I don't have to be as crazy with all the things, I am definitely going to be crazy with Midlife Wolf Mate. I'm going to be writing like a mofo, trying to get this book out. Not trying, I am going to be getting it out because it comes out July 21st. And it's going to be a fun time. I can't wait to get this book written and get it out. In fact, if I can get this podcast episode to you fast, that's what I'm going to be working on next, is my book today. So finishing up chapter 5 would be wonderful. That's my job. That's my goal. All right, guys. If you would like to get the transcript to today's podcast episode, head over to authorrevolution.org/187 and you can get it there. And like I said, if you've got any conferences or other podcasts that I should go on, email me, carissa@authorrevolution.org, and I will definitely check them out because I had so much fun. I had so much fun speaking. I had so much fun engaging. It was a great time. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. I'm going to get this podcast episode up and ready for you right now so that you can get it today. And in the meantime, do all of your things. Get all the words on the page. And of course, go forth and start your author revolution.